On September 27, 1980, shortly after 2 a.m. in northeast Los Angeles, two young Frogtown Sureno gang members, Adam Miranda and Arnold Gonzales, would enter an AM/PM convenience store at 4830 Eagle Rock Boulevard in Los Angeles. At that time, store clerks Kelly Chandler and 33-year-old Gary Black were on duty. Gonzales and Miranda had come to the store in order to try to buy beer, but when Kelly Chandler said it was too late, Arnold Gonzales would hand Chandler $1 and asked for a pack of cigarettes. Simultaneously, Miranda would then point a gun at Chandler and demanded all the money from the cash register. Arnold Gonzales would then notice that the store had video surveillance system and that they were being recorded. Immediately thereafter, a gunshot was fired, and then another one. Both clerks were shot, and Miranda and Gonzales would flee the scene. Kelly Chandler was able to crawl to a nearby telephone and call 911. Sadly, Gary Black would pass away from his injuries. Arnold Gonzales would rise through the ranks from a local hood and Frogtown gang member to one of the most powerful and vicious members of the Mexican Mafia.
Dies as his wounded assistant phones police.
A notorious LA gang leader described by police as a thrill killer is headed for death row at San Quentin.
You are sentenced to death.
35-year-old Timothy McGee, seen smiling and laughing during the sentencing hearing, was convicted in October of 2007 of killing two gang rivals and a woman. One of the victims was shot 28 times. McGee also opened fire on police officers during an ambush, but they weren't hurt. Prosecutors say he even boasted in rap lyrics about the pleasure he got from killing.
NF shot caller Dimas De Leon, known as Diablo, calls it all a deadly game.
Yeah, they're enemies. The bottom line is, if you get the opportunity to kill one of them, kill them. Just like you know for a fact, you've been taught, if they have the opportunity to kill you, they're going to kill you. So strike before they strike.
And there are other deadly associations. The Aryan Brotherhood and Mexican Mafia have a shaky alliance against the Nuestra Familia and Black Guerrilla family. It's a daily puzzle for corrections officers.
You're constantly looking at the alliances and who's getting along with who today, who can go out on the yard together, who can't go out on the yard together.
It's further complicated by the fact that blacks also do hits on other blacks, often ignited by tensions between Crips and Bloods. Whites move on whites, often related to a faction of the NLR that doesn't want to take orders from the AB.
Right now, it's a complete and total mess.
Internal power struggles within the Mexican Mafia leave a trail of blood. And Pelican Bay prison gang investigators 6 months ago.
It's all a hit list for the NF.
caught a Nuestra Familia gang member carrying a massive internal hit list from one prison to another.
300 or 400 people marked for death. Right.
Like this weapon, the hit list was hidden in his rectum. The hit list was headed here to the security housing unit known as the SHU. This is where all the hardcore prison gang members are locked down 22 hours a day. They never leave their cells without being handcuffed first. These are the top shot callers who give the orders to kill. More often than not, to kill their own. Diablo is now on that hit list.
We'll sit here and tell you how proud to be a Mexican, and then we'll send you out to a yard to kill another Mexican. You know, so I mean, if that's not hypocrisy, what is? You know, but these youngsters are so manipulated into believing that this is how they prove themselves. This is what life is all about. This is the only life that they'll ever know.
Violence rules.
Yes, Lord.
All directed by lifers back here in the SHU. Younger street gang members anxious to move up into the prison gang ranks do what they're told.
They brainwash people. And I know this because I was right there, and I was taught how to brainwash people, how to get in youngsters' head.
Along with fear and intimidation, racist propaganda is often used to drive the inmates. But this former AB associate, now marked for death himself, says that's not what it's all about.
But the people that are older and know what time it is know that it's just business.
Run the yard and control the flow of drugs. Drugs smuggled in through the mail, brought in by visitors who disguise dope inside packages. Heroin ironed out between the pages of legal documents. Marijuana hidden inside a Ritz crackers box. Assistant Director of Corrections, Brian Perry.
They have 24 hours a day to figure out how to do this stuff.
And the law says inmates are entitled to their mail-in packages. There's not enough manpower to search thousands of items and visitors. This former Mexican mafia associate says the shot callers take advantage of that.
The majority of people in prison are drug addicts. So you bringing in something that everybody wants, it's going to sell. And they use that to control yards, to get things done, get people hit.
Investigators say the inmate here on the parallel bars is a known drug dealer. A dispute over debts gets him a shank to the throat. Drugs are behind much of the violence here. It's all prison gang business.
Drugs, money, they all buy the same thing.
Power.
Power. That's all it comes down to.
And when they're not attacking each other, inmates often target the correctional officers. Statewide, there are an average of 9 assaults a day on the guards.
This type of inmate that we have up here is basically predatory. They're always on the hunt.
Gang investigator Robert Marquez says that hunt goes on even from inside maximum security cells. Ask yourself, what does a murderer with 2 life terms have to lose? So they often gas guards that are walking by.
Gassing is having urine thrown in your face, having feces and urine mixed together thrown in your face.
And about half the 1,200 inmates here inside the Pelican Bay SHU have hepatitis C, a potentially fatal disease.
You feed them every day. They measure up where your eyes are at, or your throat is at, and you come by and they hit you with one of these.
Also, inmates make spears to shoot at the guards from inside their cell.
Cut themselves, put a little blood on it, and then it's even worse because then you're taking that stuff home to your family.
He's talking about possible HIV infection, a serious risk because of the AIDS epidemic among inmates. People on the outside looking in just don't get it, say officers. Retired Special Investigations Agent George Ortiz, 30 years in the prison system, agrees.
What they don't understand is how dangerous they can be.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Green Lit Gang TV. Much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video today. Really quick, big shout out. We are almost halfway through the year, and I believe we are going to reach our goal of all of 2025, which was 20,000 subscribers sometime next month. This is the last video for May, so I really hope you guys will enjoy it. I put a lot of work into it. Really quick, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. If you like what you see and like what you hear, go back, check out some other content, and let me know what you think. If you are someone who has continued to support the channel, and you already know how much you mean to me, Thank you, seriously. Thank you so much. I'm really humbled by all the continued support I get. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, hit the like button, hit the comment button, engage in some conversation. And lastly, please hit the subscribe button. We are going to 20,000 and we're going to blow past it. And that's all because of you guys. So thank you seriously again for all the support. All right, guys. So let's jump right into it here. We're going to be reading from a federal indictment, a report that happened in June of 2015. At the head of this is Arnie Gonzales. He commits that murder in 1980 of the store clerk with Adam Miranda. Now, he is a Frogtown Sureno gang member. He's a career criminal, spending his entire life behind bars. He becomes a very feared and respected Mexican Mafia gang member. In 2010, while in Pelican Bay, he is able to unify and create a peace treaty between 3 Northeast Los Angeles street gangs that were primarily rivals. Okay, that's the Rascals Gang, Frogtown, and Rifa Toonerville 13. A lot of people with Toonerville, at least even me, right? You associate Timothy Joseph McGee. I remember being in my early 20s watching Gangsters, America's Most Evil on this guy and thought it was just fascinating. Okay, but those are the 3 gangs. So we're going to read from this article. Federal, state, and local authorities this morning arrested 15 defendants named in a federal racketeering indictment that describes the development and implementation of a coalition of 3 criminal street gangs in the Northeast Los Angeles area that were brought together under a truce ordered by a Mexican Mafia member for the purpose of controlling criminal activity in the neighborhoods where the trio of gangs operated. Unlike previous federal racketeering cases in this region that targeted long-established street gangs, the indictment that was returned yesterday by a federal grand jury outlines how Mexican Mafia members Arnold Gonzales created a criminal enterprise by unifying 3 gangs that had traditionally been rivals. According to the 27-count indictment, quote, the peace treaty imposed by Arnold Gonzales brought together the Frogtown, Toonerville, and Rascals Gang, which then worked in concert to control the narcotics trafficking and other illicit activities committed in their territories, which run along the Los Angeles River from Elysian Park nearly to Burbank. The indictment alleges a conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, RICO, and accuses a total of 22 defendants of being members and associates of a criminal organization engaged in, amongst other things, conspiracy to traffic in narcotics, narcotics trafficking, extortion, and crimes of violence, including conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, and robbery. Exploiting a power vacuum created by previous federal RICO cases targeted Northeast LA gangs and the Mexican Mafia members who controlled them. Arnold Gonzales allegedly assumed control of the 3 street gangs in fall of 2010 because he was incarcerated in Pelican Bay State Prison after being convicted of murder. Arnold Gonzales anointed another Frogtown member, Jorge Gray, also known as Bouncer, to be his emissary on the streets, according to the indictment. Acting as a so-called shot caller, Gray convened a meeting of representatives of Northeast LA gangs in September of 2010. At this meeting, Gray informed the gang representatives that he was Arnold Gonzales' mouthpiece and that he had orders to broker a truce amongst the rival gangs of Frogtown, Toonerville, and the Rascals so that they could work together to control illegal activities in the area on behalf of and for the benefit of Arnold Gonzales. The investigation showed that nearly 2 years after its formation, the criminal organization had achieved its goal of unifying the 3 long-standing rival gangs into a single criminal enterprise. Less than 2 years after Arnold Gonzales imposed the truce on the gangs, one of the Toonerville shot callers, Manuel Vallejo, was talking about the, quote, United Nations or the, quote, New World Order and, quote, United Neighborhoods, which he said was the game plan. Just a few months ago, Vallejo was boasting about the execution of that game plan, noting that he was part of something that had ended more than 50 years of fighting between Frogtown, Toonerville, and the Rascals. For the past 2 decades, federal authorities have been fighting the influence of the Mexican Mafia both inside prison facilities and on the streets of Southern California, said Assistant United States Attorney Robert Dugdale, chief of the Officers Criminal Division. It's crazy. The RICO indictment targeting the Arnold Gonzales organization is a result of an operation called Gigum, which was a 2.5-year investigation conducted by the basically the ATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Excuse me. Office of Correctional Safety, Special Services Unit, the Glendale Police Department, and the Los Angeles Police Department. And we go on to talk about how many they arrested, yada, yada, yada. The investigation centered on Arnold Gonzales taking control of the 3 gangs, exercising his authority through Gray and his criminal associates, and generating revenue through extortion. Specifically, the imposition of taxes on the gangs and others who distributed narcotics in the territory controlled by the enterprise. They call it the dime, right? You got to pay the dime to the Mexican Mafia. Excuse me. used to enforce it. The indictment details numerous transactions involving narcotics and firearms and also contains charges related to 2 shootings, one allegedly perpetrated by Vallejo against a fellow Toonerville gang member whom he believed was attempting to wrest control of the enterprise, and another shooting of a neighborhood drug dealer ordered by Gray due to his failure to pay the taxes. It's all about money. At the end of the day, if you don't pay, they're going to shoot you up, they're going to kill you. It just pay it or don't. Now, in Operation Gigum, these are the defendants. I was actually able, they didn't list them right away in a lot of articles, but I was able to find just like a Microsoft Word naming the defendants. Jorge Gray, a.k.a. Bouncer, Santos Zepeda, a.k.a. Slim, Jonathan Zepeda, a.k.a. Japs, Manuel Vallejo, a.k.a. Boxer, Giovanni Olvera, a.k.a. Suspect, Julio Bosque, a.k.a. Big Cuba, Javier Bosque, a.k.a. Little Cuba, Yadier Valencia, of Alamo, a Frogtown associate, didn't give a nickname for him, Frederick Ham, a.k.a. Sinner, Frutoso Mendoza, I put up a picture of him, a.k.a. Toddy, Ryan Lobb, a.k.a. Psycho, Kelly Liddell, a.k.a. Giant, Gerardo Ortiz, a.k.a. Tank, Eric Aldret, a.k.a. Bad Boy, Ronald Garcia, a.k.a. Grinch, Thomas Gonzales, Gloria Valerio, Gloria Ortega, Robert Amado, a.k.a. Listo, Juan Murillo, a.k.a. Nacho, Jose Barreto, a.k.a. Joey, and Charles Gothard, who was 60. So the RICO winds its way through the court. People end up getting convicted. People end up playing out. Manuel Vallejo, for example, in May of 2018, he's sentenced to 25 to life. He went by Boxer. He was a leader, shot caller of the Toonerville gang. He got sentenced to 25 to life. They just racked him out. All the drug charges, all the weapons charges, all the violent charges. It's just, you're done. They're going to book you. During the sentencing, Vallejo actually told the court, quote, "Even if I stole God's calculator, I couldn't add up all the mistakes I've made." I thought that was very powerful. You got to figure a guy who's, 36 years old, still fairly young, and it's probably hitting him that he's going to spend the rest of his, at least you could say, quote, good years in a federal prison cell. And that's pretty powerful. And then I found an interesting article. You fast forward another year, in March of 2019, Arnold Gonzales' brother and his girlfriend also found guilty in the RICO case. Arnold Gonzales' brother went by the name of Thomas Gonzales. And then there was that Gloria Valerio. And all of it was just being tied back to Arnold Gonzales. So this is the article that breaks down Thomas Gonzales and Gloria Valero's, what they were charged with and convicted of. A Los Angeles man and his longtime girlfriend have been found guilty of racketeering conspiracy for collecting and storing extortion taxes for the man's brother, an imprisoned Mexican Mafia member, and for acting as the brother's eyes and ears on the street, delivering coded messages to him, including one message that resulted in an individual being marked for death. Because that's the thing. These messages aren't saying happy birthday. These messages are saying kill this person, attack this person, extort this gang, collect this person owes me that. It's not just, hey, tell him I love him. Hey, tell him happy birthday. Hey, send him some money. It's always about violence. It's always about what's next, who's wronging us, who do we need to go after. That's always what it is. Thomas Gonzales, 60, and Gloria Valerio, 66, both of the Elysian Valley neighborhood in the city of L.A., were found guilty of conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. After a 2-week federal jury trial, Gonzales also was found guilty of making a false statement to a law enforcement officer. Gonzales and Valerio were named in a 2015 federal RICO indictment that charged 22 defendants and outlined how Gonzales' brother, Mexican Mafia member and senior Frogtown gang member Arnold Arnie Gonzales, had ordered the unification of the traditional rival LA street gangs of Frogtown, Toonerville, and the Rascals. The inter-gang alliance began in 2010 and resulted in the 3 gangs controlling the narcotics trade and other illegal activities in an area along the Los Angeles River that ran from Elysian Park nearly to Burbank. So, again, all these convictions right here. Prosecutors previously obtained 19 convictions in this case, with some defendants receiving sentences of up to 25 years to life in federal prison. Gonzales and Valerio were each the last 2 defendants still facing charges. According to the evidence presented at trial, Gonzales and Valerio acted as secretaries, or people who act as the bridge between imprisoned members of the Mexican Mafia prison gang and the gang members on the streets. quote, secretaries are often not gang members themselves and have normal jobs and minimal criminal histories, which is why the Mexican Mafia targets them to be used as intermediaries, as they're able to make prison visits to Mexican Mafia members without arousing suspicion. In this case, Valerio worked as an insurance analyst, and Thomas Gonzales was an HVAC technician. So imagine your guy coming to fix your air conditioner. His brother is one of the most vicious, violent, most well-respected Mexican Mafia gang members. Valerio, she's doing, what does it say? She's an insurance analyst, one of the most boring, simple, mundane jobs you can have. But on the weekends, she's going up to whatever prison, Arnold Gonzales is in, and delivering coded messages that could be marking somebody's, their life. It's over. They're placing a hit on somebody. At trial, jurors saw more than 35 video clips from 11 prison visits in 2012 and 2013 where Valerio and Thomas Gonzales visited Arnie Gonzales, who was serving a life sentence at Pelican Bay State Prison for a murder conviction. So, again, the feds, when they want you, they're going to get you. They put a lot of these cases together. They take years to do so, but it's how they're able to round up 20, 30, 40, 50 people at a time. And Rico, I don't know if you guys have ever really done your research on Rico, but I don't want to say abuse it, but just about. The government can almost abuse that law of Rico to go after people. If you have any involvement with these guys, they can charge you and you will go to federal prison. It's absolutely insane. But anyway, much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Until next time, peace.